What's up, everybody? Mitch here, True Ag and Turf. I'm back in Missouri. It's a cool 52 degrees. It is officially harvest weather, and we're out here in the cornfield. Gavin has switched to corn. We're gonna find out how the corn's doing, how the combine's doing in corn. Stay tuned. We're in corn, back in Missouri, switched to corn. Gavin's got it all switched over.
Did it all over the phone. It was super simple. Got walked through what all I needed to switch. Took me about 20 minutes. We're rocking and rolling.
So I got some different questions for you today. Start off with an easy one. What's your favorite color?
Of combine or just in general?
Just in general.
In general, I'm a blue guy. Different shades of blue. Blue, green, I don't know. Combine, silver, all day long. This thing's been great.
So what drew you to farming? You talked earlier about like you helped farmers in high school, but what drew you to farming? First generation, why farming?
So I'd liked it since I was a little bitty kid. I mean, 3-4 years old. I was staring out the window at my neighbors while they were farming. I think it was just the fact that they were running big, loud, dirty equipment out in the field, playing in the mud. What young kid doesn't like that sort of thing? And then as I got older, it evolved into having a passion for the agronomy and the business side of it, and still getting to be out in the field. So, right up my alley. It's the only thing I ever wanted to be.
What was the biggest hurdle for you to get in farming?
Finding the land is pretty difficult. I'm still cash renting or crop sharing every acre that I operate on. And then it's a very capital intensive business. So developing good relationships with bankers and input suppliers and your grain buyers and figuring out how to market. You have to be so on top of every single piece. Like everything just has to go right all the time. And sometimes it doesn't.
Do you have any advice for anybody who's trying to get into farming?
Well, working hard, but that goes without saying. Just learn the skill and then figure out what you are really good at and just focus on that, and what you're not good at, find other people who are good at it. So if you're bad at agronomy, but you're real good with your numbers, hire an agronomist. But develop good relationships and stay honest with everyone that you encounter. I mean, that's going to take you further than anything, is just having a good name in the community.
So outside of farming, what do you do? What's your hobbies?
Farming. Not a whole lot. We spend a lot of my time is farming, talking about farming, hanging out with other farmers, doing farm stuff. I pretty well eat, sleep, and breathe it. I did there for a while. Whenever we're not real busy in the field, there's an MMA gym that I go to. So getting some exercise in, learning some self-defense, getting punched in the face and punching other people in the face. I mean, it's good stress relief. And it's fun to learn a skill that you can use if you're in a pinch too. So I guess that outside of agriculture would be that, getting away. And it's a whole different set of people too. I mean, nobody at the MMA gym cares if you're a farmer. They don't care about how many acres you have or what sort of equipment you run. So it's totally different conversations you get to have.
So have you competed in MMA?
No, there's guys at the gym who like are very good, very good. They go to the competitions and whatever, the fights, jump in the ring and beat the crap out of each other. I do not do that, probably will not do that. There's people much better at it than I am, and it's not something I want to exceed. I never want to be Conor McGregor, but it is fun to get away from the farm and go do that.
So we're switched back over to corn. We did beans. How many acres did we get done?
You're putting me on the spot. We've done probably 800 acres or so of beans. This is the first 140 acres of corn. The early beans, the first ones that we dug into, were really good, and they just kind of slid downhill from there. The further south we got, the more rain we missed. So I've had field averages anywhere from 36 clear up to mid 70s, but most of them are landing in that high 40s, low 50s range, which is not bad beans. It's a decent crop, but for how good this corn's doing, the beans just are not the star this year. 6 weeks of rain hurt everything. 6 weeks of no rain hurt everything at the end of summer.
So what have you seen for fuel usage, or have you been tracking any of that?
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on it. It's actually pretty consistent between corn and beans both. Now corn, we're running an 8-row 30-inch head. Beans, a 35-foot draper. The beans have just been tough cutting, and everyone said that this year. But 11 to 15 most of the time gallons per hour, and then obviously your ground speed will dictate how many gallons per acre you're using, but I would call that pretty dang good efficiency. Corn, we're doing 200 plus bushel corn at 6 miles an hour, 6.5 miles an hour. Beans, it felt like we were crawling along in the beginning in the green stem ones, but as they died off more, we're running close to 4 miles an hour, 4.5 miles an hour in the beans.
So, silver cedar. Everybody calls it the silver cedar. Let's get that addressed. You got a bunch of cover crop back there behind that combine?
No,
combine?
There's not much. The first day, me and my brother, when we had the corn head set up and I switched it over, I went very in depth. I mean, I pulled the spreaders off and we were making the windrows with the residue and counting kernels, and we've got it down. It wasn't very difficult. Someone who's not familiar with combines, you could walk them through how to set a combine pretty quick on this Gleaner. We spent some time, dedicated a whole afternoon to getting it dialed in, and we've got it down sub 1 bushel per acre. I do have a little bit of head loss, but this corn's very dry. We're 13.5% corn, and obviously you can't do anything about that with the Gleaner. It's not the Gleaner's fault that we're getting head shelling. It's just dry corn. So we're keeping around a bushel an acre, and the soybeans, it was hard to find soybeans out there, except when they got real dry and were cracking. You're not gonna save all the splits. There was a few of those on the ground, but very happy with it. Very good clean samples and good clean fields.
So the pheasants are going to be starving?
Well, around here it's deer. We don't have many pheasants, but yeah, whatever's trying to live this winter in one of my fields is going to be pretty thin by springtime.
So you got a cedar lined up for next year? Or, combine's not leaving it.
Yep, we're gonna have to plant everything without using the combine to do it.
So now we know it's not a silver cedar. We're not putting all the crops out. Issues. What issues have we had? We've got some rocks, so we had some guards, some sickles. We got a few slats.
Yep. I would blame that on operator error. I should have seen that rock. So that's my fault, not the machine's fault. There was one hose, a hydraulic hose, actually the same day we fixed those slats. That hose was rubbing on a pulley that was turning a belt, and we rubbed a hole in that hydraulic hose. So that had us down for an hour or two. I think it was just routed incorrectly, or could have been routed better. The hose should have been shorter or longer. Simple fix, just put a new hose on, zip tie it up so it doesn't rub against that pulley all day. Not a combine problem, but corn head issue. We're running a Calmer corn head, which I really like the Calmer guys. they don't make mini heads for Gleaner, and the single point had the wrong fittings on it, so I had to steal some fittings off the draper to make the corn head work. But this is all super simple little stuff, nothing major, nothing catastrophic. It's been a very good fall so far.
It adjusted a sensor.
Oh yeah, and adjusted a sensor on this morning. I forgot about that because it was such a non-issue. I mean, it took 10 seconds to fix. The unload auger wouldn't work, and it was beeping at me when I was trying to unload onto the first truck this morning. And there's a sensor in that cradle when the auger folds down, and I just had a bunch of corn husk dust packed underneath of it. So I kicked that out of the way and moved the sensor, and it worked just fine. But just little things that are very easy to fix, and once they're fixed, you're good to go.
Some of that just new combine, first time running, right? So
yeah.
Just making some adjustments.
Yep. I recalibrated the draper head one day. It was just sitting lopsided. I still have no clue what caused it to get out of whack, but that was just as simple as sitting here and hitting a button and letting it raise and lower on its own. I mean, that was a 2-minute thing. So all in all, very good experience so far.
So what's your favorite feature of the combine?
This is gonna sound silly. Today, the thing I appreciate the most is my auto header height controls on this corn head. I've never had that in my life. I'm running old combines. I'd sit here all day and I'd click the button up and down and go over terraces, and so this just running on its own like a bean head is amazing. The combine's doing all the work for me, and I'm just focusing on the combine, doing the combining part. So off the top of my head, that's the thing I like the most. Yeah, it could be, the simplicity, how easy it is to make it get a good sample. A few clicks here or there and you can dial it in really well. You watch that grain tank as you're going across the field, you can change it on the go. And I did that all day long. I was playing around in beans because they're so variable. I'd change it across the field 2 or 3 times and try to keep it as consistent as possible, and it was very easy to do that. And corn sample too, but bean sample's so clean. I mean, it looks like you could put them right back in the planter.
So how's harvest compared? I mean, obviously new combine, right? So that's a nice perk. How's harvest going compared to years past?
So far, very good. We've had very good weather. We've only had one rain delay, and it was just a day and a half. Yields are great. I haven't had a good corn crop in 3-4 years, so it's just very nice to see the yields that we're getting. Has made harvest really fun. And then also the efficiency of running one larger machine instead of 2 smaller ones, and having that draper head I could run earlier in the morning, later at night, just absolutely chew through this corn. It's made harvest a blast. I'm having a real good time. Now, if everything could just go up in value $1, if we get $5 for corn, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. It'd be too perfect. So there's always got to be something that's not going just right.
So you were talking about speed earlier. What speed you been running?
When we're unloading on the go, especially in these terraces, I slow down to about 5. But just rolling back and forth like we are now, 5.8 to 6.3. And it's dancing either side of 200. 190 to 210 is most of this corn today. I'm very happy with that because my old combine, I'm used to going 2.5, 3 miles an hour. So this is just, feels like we're NASCAR racing. I really think if we stay with a class 7 or 8 combine, which after experiencing it, I want to, I would like to move up to a 12-row head and slow my ground speed down a little bit, just because it does feel like 6 miles an hour just seems really fast to me. Maybe to some people it's not. But I would like to, I like to combine a little slower. We're keeping 2 trucks on their toes today. They're not really setting at all. As soon as they pull in the field, we got a load for them, and they're heading back to the elevator.
Morning, Grayce.
Good morning, Mitch.
Gavin's been running this Gleaner for a while now. Is his mood better this harvest than last?
Much better.
A lot better mood? Okay. Has it been better for you this harvest?
I got to think of an answer for that one. Yeah, I mean, we're not up all night working on combines anymore. That's nice.
So you've got an opportunity to be around the Gleaner now. You got a Massey back home.
Mm-hmm.
How do they compare? How they differ?
Well, there's a lot of differences just for the fact that they're different ages. But, I mean, especially in the cab, they're very similar. The serviceability is very similar just because they're really easy to service and quick. Reliable, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're pretty similar other than, I guess, the mechanics. Like, obviously the rotor's not the same, but for the most part, they're really similar.
Anything else you need to tell us about Gavin?
Gavin loves Gleaner.
Gavin loves Gleaner.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Gavin is very beautiful.